Reading from Sri Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text number 1. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra Samaveta Yayutsava Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva Kim Kurvata Sanjaya. Translation. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? Sanjaya Vacha Jishtvatu Pandavanikam Vyudham Duryadhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Rajavachanamabravit. Translation. Sanjaya said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Pashaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatin Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishena Dimata. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. Atra Shurya Maheshvasha Bhimarjuna Samayudi Yuhyutano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharata. Here, in this army, are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudhana, Virat and Drupad. Drishtaketus Chikitena Kashirajas Chaviryavan Purujit Kuntibojascha Shaibhyascha Narapungava. There are also great, heroic, powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kasiraj, Purujit, Kuntiboj, and Shaibhya. Utamanuscha Vikranta, Utamojascha Viryavan, Sobhadro Dropadeyascha, Sarva Eva Maharata. There are the mighty Udamanyu, the very powerful Utamoja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. Asmakam tu vishishtaye tanibodha tujotama nayakam mama sanyasya samgyartam tantvavimite. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samitim Jaya Ashvatama Vikarnascha Somadatis Tataivacha. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashvatam, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta called Burishrav, who are always victorious in battle. Anye cha bahava suro shura madarte chakta jivataha nana shastra praharanaha sarve yuddha visharadaha. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. Aparyaptam tad asmakam balam bhishma birakshitam paryaptam tvetam etasam balam bhima birakshitam. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Ayaneshu chasarveshu yatabhagam avashtitaha Bhishmam ava birakshantu bhavanta sarva evahi. All of you must now give full support to grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Tasya sanjanayam harsham Kuru Vrita Pitamaha Shinghanadam Vinadjochchai Shamkam Dadmo Patapavan. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Tata shankascha beryascha panavanga kakomukha sahasta vaibhya hanyanta sashabdas tumalobhavat. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Tatal sveitayar hayar yukte mahati shadanestito madhava pandavas chaiva devyo shanko pradamatu. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Panchajanyam rishikesho devadatam dananjaya pondram dadmo mahashankam bhimakarma vrikodaraha. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pondra. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosha Manipushpako Kaschascha Parameshvasha Shikandi Cha Maharataha Tristajam no Viratascha Satyakishcha Parajitaha Drupado Drupadeyascha Sarvasa Pritivipate Sobhadrascha Mahabahu Shankam Dadmo Pritak. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sugosh and the Manipushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kasi, the great fighter Shikandi, Dristajamna, Virat, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Sagosho Dart Tarastranam Hridayani Vyadarayat Nabascha Pritivim Chaiva Tumalobhyanam Adayan. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Atavya vastitan drishtva dartarastran kapi dvaja pravrite shastra sampate danur udyamya pandava rishikesham tadavakyam idamaha mahipate. At that time Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Arjuna vacha senayor ubayar madhye ratam stapaya mechita yavadetan niriksheham yodhu kamam avashtitam karmayar sahayodhavyam asmin rana samudjame. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I might see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Yodhyamanam aviksheham ya ite trasamagata dartara trasya durbudher yudhe priya chikir shavaha. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya uvacha evam mukto rishikesho gudakeshena bharata senayar ubayor madhye stapayet ratotamam. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharat, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Bhishma Drona Pramukhatai Sarvesham Chamahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pasyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Trata Pasyat Stitan Partha Pitanata Pitamahan Acharyan Matulan Bhartran Putran Potran Sakimstata Svasuran Suridas Jaiva Senayar Ubayorapi. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. Tam samiksha sakunteya sarvan bandhun avashtitan kripaya paraya vishto visidan idam abravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna vacha dishvemam svajanam Krishna yoyutsam samupashtitam siddhante mama gatrani mukham cha parishushati. Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Dvepatuscha sharire me roma harshas chajayate gandivan sangsate hastat tvakcheva paridayate. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, and my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Nachasak nom avashtatam brahmati vachame manaha nimitani chapashami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Na chasheya nipasyami hatvasvaja namahabe na kankshe vijayam Krishna na charajam sukhanicha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsman in the battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. Kim no rajyena govinda kim bogar jivitena va yeshamarte kankshitam no rajyam boga sukhanicha ta ime vashtita yute pranams chaktva dananicha acharya pitara putras tataiva cha pitamaha matulasva shura potra shala sambandinastada etana hantam ichchami gunato pi madhusudana api trilokya rajasya hito kim nu mahi krite nihatya dartarastrana kapriti shaj janardana. O Govinda, of what avail it to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this on this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Papam eva shrayedasman hatvaitan atyayani atatayanaha tasmanarha vayam hantu Dritarastaram Chabandavan Svajanam hi katam hatva Sukhina Syama Madhava. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our own friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Yajapi etit ne napasyanti lobhopahata chetasa kulakshayo kritam dosham mitradrohi chapatakam katam na yeyam asmabi papadasma nivartitam kulakshaya kritam dosham papashad janardana. O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? Kulakshaya pranasyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam krishnam adharmo bibhavdachita. With the destruction of the dynasty and the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Adharma bibhavat Krishna padushanti kulastriya strishu dushtasu varshnenya jayate varna sankara. When religion is prominent, and irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Sankaro narakasyaiva kulagnanam kulasyacha patanti pitaro hyesam lupta pindo dakakriyaha. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Dosharetai kulagnanam varna shankara karakai utsajante jati dharma kula dharmas jashasvataha. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Utsana kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavati chanushruna. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Aho bata mahat papam kartam javasita vayam yadraja sukhalobena hantam svajanam udyataha. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Yadimam apratikaram ashastram shastra punaya dhitarashtra rene hanyas tanmekshema charam bhavet. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjaya vacha evam utkvarujana evam uktvarjana sankye ratupasta upabhishat vishrujasa sharam chapam shokasham vignamanasa. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Haribo.
Sanjay Uvacha Tam Tatha Kripaya Vishtam Ashrupurna Kulekshanam Vishidantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha.
Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashamallidam Vishame Samupasthitam Anarya Juba Asargam Akirti Karamarjuna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They did not to higher planets, but to infamy.
Klaibyam masmagama parthanaitatvipadyate Shudram hridaya dorbalyam tyaktato tishta parantapa.
O son of Krita, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Arjunuvacha Katham Bhishma Maham Sankhye Dronam cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratiyosyami Pujahar Varisudana.
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship?
Gurun hatva hi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhoktum bhakshamapi haloke Hatvartha kamamstum guruni heva Bhujjiya bhoganudira pradigdhan.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gains, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Na chaidad vitma kataranno gariyo Yadva jayem yadiva no jayeyu Yane vahatva najijiva shamste Devasthita pramukhe dhartarashtra.
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava Prichhami tvam dharma sammoda cheta Yashreyasya nishchitam ruhitan me Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Nahi prapashyami mama punadyat Yashoktamushoshanam indriyanam Avapya bhubhava sapattamriddham Rajyam suranapi chadipatyam.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Sanjay Uvacha Eva Muktva Rishikesham Gudakeshah Parantapa Nayotsasya iti Govindam Uktva Tushni Babhuvaha.
Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight.
Tamu
Fell silent.
Tamuvacha Rishikesha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayorubhayor Madhye Vishidantam idam vacha.
O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna smiling in the midst of both the armies spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashochash Anvashochash Tvam Pragyavadansha Bhashase Gata Sura Gata Sumscha Nanushochanti Pandita.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, You are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead.
Na tve vaham chatu nasam, na tvam neme janadhipa, na chaiva na bhavishyama, sarve vayamataha param.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama paino anityastam titikshasva bharata.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance is in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Yam hi navyatanyante te purusham purusharshava sama dukkha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate.
O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sataha ubharayorapi drishtontastva an asyostatvadarshibhi.
Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvamidham tatam vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartumarhati.
That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirina anashino prameyasya tasmadyudasva bharata.
The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore fight, O descendant of Bharata.
Ye enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate.
Neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks is its slain is in knowledge. For the self-slain not nor is slain.
Na jayate mriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Veda vinashinam nityam yah enam ajamavyayam katam sa purusha partha kam ghatayati hantikam.
O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill?
Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grihnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Nainam chiddanti shastrani nainam dahati pavaka na chainam kletiyantyapo na shoshayati maruta.
The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind.
अच्छेद्योऽयम् अदायोऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष एव च नित्यसर्वगता शान्तुरचलायं सनातना.
The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
अव्यक्तोऽयम् अचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयम् उच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचिन्तुमर्हसि.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
अथ चैन्यं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे वृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचिन्तुमर्हसि.
If, however, you think that the soul or the system of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty aunt.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्मामृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्थेऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्तानि धनन्येव तत्र का परिदेवना.
All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation?
आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवत् वदति तथैव चान्यम् आश्चर्यवत् चैनम् अन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वापि एनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
देहि नित्यं वद्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore you need not grieve for any living being.
स्वधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुद्धश्रेयोऽस्न्यक्षत्रिया यस्य न विद्यते.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles, and so there is no need for hesitation.
यच्चिच्छ्रियाचोपपन्नं स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतं सुखिनः क्षत्रिया पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्.
O Partha, happy are the Kshatriya to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets.
अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं सङ्ग्रामं न करिष्यसि तथा स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि.
If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter.
अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययां सम्भावितस्य चाकीर्तिम् अमर्त नादत्तरिच्यते.
People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death.
भयाद्रणातु परतं मंस्यते त्वां महारथा येषां च त्वं बहुमत्तो भूत्वा यायस्वि लाघवम्.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
अवाच्य वादतं च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिता निन्दंस्तस्त्व सामर्थ्य ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्ग जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीं तस्मादुद्दिष्ट कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चया.
O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore get up with determination and fight.
सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लभालाभो जया जयो ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि.
Do the fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin.
एषा ते विहिता सांख्ये बुद्धयोगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्धया युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive result. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of work.
नेहा विक्रमणा शोस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्.
In this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिरेकेह करुनन्दना बहुशाखा ह्यानन्ताश्च बुद्धियो व्यवसायिनाम्.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute in many branch.
यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्य विपश्चिता वेदबाधरता पार्थ नान्यदस्ति निवादिना कामात्मानः स्वर्गपरा जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया पाहितचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुना निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्य सत्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
यावनर्थ उत्पाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
कर्मण्यवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भुर्मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruit of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गत्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्धयो सिद्धयो समो भूत्वा समन्त्वं योगयुज्यते.
Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
दूरेण हावरं कर्म युद्धियोगा धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाफलहेतव.
O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far, distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
बुद्धियुक्तो जतातिह उभे सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युजस्व योगकर्मसु कौशलम्.
A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reaction, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work.
कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणा जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ता पदं कञ्चन्ति नामयम्.
By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the result of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead.
यदा ते मोहकलीलं बुद्धिर्व्यतिरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतवस्य श्रुतस्य च.
When your intelligence has passed out the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Shruti vipratipanam te yadastayasmi nischala samadhava chala buddhistada yogam avapsasi.
When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
Arjunuvacha sthita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthita dhikim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim.
Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushta sthita pragyasya dochyate.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desires for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness.
Dukkhen vanudvi namagna dukkeshu vigata spriha vitaraga vaya krodha sthitir muniruchyate. 56.
One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady minds.
Yasarvatranabhistesna tat prapya shubhashubham tabinandanina dveshti tasya pragya pratishtita.
In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge.
Yada saharati chayam kurmokani vasarvasha indriyanindriyathebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense object, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
Vishaya vinivartante nirahasasya dehina rajavarnam rasopyasam param drishtva nivartate.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains. But seizing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
Yatato yapi kaunteya purushtasya vipaschita indriyani pramathini haranti prasabhammana.
The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara vashehi yasyendriyani tasya pragya pratishtita.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti vibrama smritir bhrashtat buddhinasho buddhinashat pranashyati.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
Raga dvesha vimuktastu vishayendriyascharan atma vashyarvitho yatma prasada mad gacchati.
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyo pajayate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi paryavatishthate.
For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established.
नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न च युक्तस्य भावना न च भयावयत शान्तिर्शान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्.
One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
इन्द्रियाणामहि चरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावविमां भसि.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away immense intelligence.
तस्मादस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
Therefore, O mighty arms, one whose senses are restrained from their object is certainly of steady intelligence.
या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने.
What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
आपूर्यमाणामचलं प्रतिष्ठं समृद्धपापं प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वकामाव्या प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिं नाप्नोति न कामकामी.
A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
विहाय कामान् सर्वान् पुंश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरङ्कहारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति.
A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace.
एष ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमूयति स्थित्वा स्यामान्तमकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति.
That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
अर्जुनुवाच जायसि चेत् कर्मणस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तत्किं कर्मणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव.
Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare, if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work?
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्.
My intelligence is bewildered by your unequivocal instruction. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
श्रीभगवान् उवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् द्विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
न कर्मणामनारम्भः नैष्कर्मया पुरुषो श्रुते न च सन्न्यासनादेवा सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यावशः कर्म सर्वप्रकृतिजैर्गुणे.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थामिवूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself, and is called a pretender.
Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhate juna karmendriya karma yogam sakta asakta sa vishishyate.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active sense by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior.
Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jyayo akramanah sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyed karmana.
Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Yagyarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage.
Saha yagya pragya srishtva purovacha prajapati anena prasavishyadvam esha yovashtista kamadhuk.
In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generation of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna," sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation.
Devan bhavayata tena te deva bhavayantu va parasparam bhavayanta shreya param avapasyatha.
The demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you. Thus, by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all.
Ishtan bhogan vivo deva dasyante yagya bhavita tairdetana pradayobhyo yo bhukta sangestena evasa.
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
Yagya shishtashrina santo muchyante sarva kilvishay bhajante te tvagam papa ye pachantyatma karanat.
The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Annad bhavanti bhutani paryajanyat sambhava yagyat bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhavaha.
All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are products from rain. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties.
Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmas sarvagatam brahma nityam yagye pratishtitam.
Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-prevailing transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartya tihaya agayurindriya ramo mogam partha sajivati.
My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain.
Yastvatma ratireva syad atmatriptascha manava atmanyeva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty.
Neva tasya krite nartho na krite neha kaschana na chasya sarvabhuteshu kaschidartya vyapashraya.
A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being.
Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto yacharan karma paramapnoti purusha.
Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme.
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादया लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि.
Kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work.
यद्यचारतरि श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवतरो जना स्याप्यत् प्रमाण कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
नामे पार्थस्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि.
O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
यदि हायं न वर्तेयं जातु कर्म न तन्त्रिता मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वशः.
For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path.
उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि मा प्रजा.
If I did not perform the prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings.
सक्ता कर्मण्य विद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्ता अश्चिकीर्षि लोक संग्रहम्.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to result, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path.
न बुद्धिभेदं जनदयेत् अज्ञानां कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्त समाचरन्.
So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive result of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness.
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते.
The spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature.
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयो गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते.
One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty Art, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results.
प्रकृतेर् गुणसम्मूढा सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् अकृत्स्नविद् विचालयेत्.
Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge.
मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्म चेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युधस्व विगतज्वरा.
Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy fight.
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवा श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunction and who follow the teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive action.
ये त्वेद बध्नसूयन्तो नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतं सर्वज्ञानविमूढास्त्वं नान्विद्धि नष्टचेतसा.
But those who are out of envy disregard these teaching and do not follow them regularly, are to be considered barefit of acknowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection.
सदृशं चेष्टते स्वस्य प्रकृतेर्ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रहं किं करिष्यति.
Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes, where what can repression accomplish?
यन्द्रियस्येन्द्रियस्यार्थे रागद्वेषौ विवस्थितौ तयोर्न वशमागच्छत् agacche tau hyasya paripanthinau.
There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the sense and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion, because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization.
Shriyan swadharmo viguna paradharman swanushtitan swadharme nidanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duty, even though faultily, that others' duty perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another duty, for to follow another's path dangerous.
Arjunavacha atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichhanapi varshneya baladiva niyojita.
Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
Shri Bhagavan uvacha kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyena miya varinam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world.
Dhume na priyate vahner yatha yadarsho malena cha yatholbe navrito garbhas tatha dene damavritam.
As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degree of this lust.
Avritam jnanametena jnanino nitya vairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena chalena cha.
Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness become covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire.
Indriyani mano buddhir syadhishthanamu uchyate etar bimo hayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
Tasmat tvamindriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papamanam prahajyanam jnana vijnanam nashanam.
Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manasastu para buddhiryo buddhe paratastu sa.
The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind, and he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhyatmanam jahi shatru mahabaho kamarupam dura sadam.
Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
insatiable. Yeah.
Mataji, can you do the next two, and then Divya Shakti Mataji, when she comes, she'll read the one that you were supposed to read.
You want me to read four?
Fourth and fifth.
So if you
Yes.
Okay, can you read translation then?
yeah, I am okay to read translation.
Oh,
So you do chapter 4 and chapter 5,
yeah.
and Divya Shakti Mataji do chapter 6 and 7.
Okay. You should sit here.
I can read translation if you're
You,
done.
yeah, please. Does someone want some water to drink? No?
Do you know the Bible, Pastor?
Yes. Not going on.
Hare Krishna. Oh, Prabhu,
Do you want to
you know, I'm reading from book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good.
So,
You can read it from.
is that okay?
Yeah, yeah.
My thank you. Chapter 4. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Chapter 4. Transcendental Knowledge. Shri Bhagavan. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavanuvāja imam vivasvade yogam proktavanahamavyayam vivasvan manave praha manurichagavabravir.
Hare Krishna. The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasan, and Vivasan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ishwaku.
Evam parambara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakalena mahatva yogo nashta parantava.
The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost.
Sa evayam mayate de yoga prokta puradanaha bhaktosi me sakachedi rahasyam hedadyuttamam.
That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
Arjuna uvaja aparam bhavado janma param janma vivasadaha kadamedat vijaniyam tomadau proktavanidhi.
Arjuna said, the sun god Vivasan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him?
Shri Bhagavanuvāja bahūni me veditani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani nathum veta param tapa.
The personality of Godhead said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy.
Ajobi sanyavayatma bhutani misharobi san pragardim somadishtaya sambhavamyayatma mayaya.
Although I am unborn, my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्.
Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of a religion, at that time I descend myself.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium.
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
वीतराग भय क्रोध मन्मया मामुपाश्रितः बहवो ज्ञान तपसा बुधा मद्भावमागतः.
Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me.
ये यदा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तदैव भजाम्यहं मम वर्मावुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः.
As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha.
काङ्क्षन्ता कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्ता इह देवताः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा.
Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world.
चादुर्वर्ण्यं मया सृष्टं गुणकर्मा विभागशः तस्य कर्तारमपि मां विद्य कर्तारमव्ययम्.
According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable.
न मां कर्माणि लिम्पन्ति न मे कर्मफले स्पृहा इति मां यो विजानाति कर्मभिर्न स बध्यते.
There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work.
एवं ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैमपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मैव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वै पूर्वतरं कृतम्.
All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps.
किं कर्म किमकर्मेधि कवयोऽप्यत्र मोहितः तत्ते कर्म प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्.
Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain it to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune.
कर्मणो हि बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः.
The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
कर्मण्या कर्मया पश्येत् कर्मणि च कर्मयः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृष्णा कर्मकृत्.
One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is transcendental position, although engaged in all sort of activities.
यस्य सर्वे समारम्भा कामसङ्कल्पवर्जितः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणां तमाहु पण्डितं बुधः.
One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge.
त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलं सङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराशयः कर्मण्याभिप्रवर्त्योऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः.
Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings.
निराशीर्यद चित्तात्मा त्यक्तसर्वपरिग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions.
यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समासिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते.
He who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions.
गदसङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञायाचरता कर्म समग्रं प्रविलीयते.
The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence.
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर्ब्रह्माप्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैधेन हन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिना.
A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature.
देवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिना पर्युपासते ब्रह्माज्ञावापरे यज्ञं यज्ञेनैवोपजुहति.
Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of Supreme Brahman.
श्रोतादीनिन्द्रियाण्येन संयमाग्निषु जुह्वति शब्दादीन् विषयान्यन्या इन्द्रियाग्निषु जुह्यति.
Some sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others sacrifice the object of the senses in the fire of senses.
सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंययोगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते.
Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind.
द्रव्ययज्ञास्तपो यज्ञा योगयज्ञास्तथा परे स्वाध्याययज्ञानयज्ञाश्च यथया संश्रितव्रताः.
Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge.
अपाने जुह्वति प्राणं प्राणे भानं तथा परे प्राणापानगतिरुद्ध्वा प्राणायामपरायणः अपरे नियताहारा प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति.
Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice.
सर्वेभ्यते यज्ञविदो यज्ञक्षिप्तकल्मषः यज्ञशिष्टामृता पूजो यान्ति ब्रह्मा सनातनम्.
All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere.
Nyayam logos te yajnasya kudhonya kuru sattama.
O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next?
Evam bahuvida yajna vidada brahmano muge karmajan vidhitan sarvanevam nyatva vimoshasye.
All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated.
Shreyan dravyamaya tejnat jnana yajna param tava sarva karma khilam partha jnane parisamapyade.
O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge.
Tadvidi pranipadena pariprashnena seveya ubadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Yajñatvana punarmoha mevam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya sheshena dreshyasyatmane dhemayi.
Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see what all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine.
Abhichedasi papebhya sarvebhya papakrittamaha sarvam jnana plavenaiva vijinam sandarishyasi.
Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries.
Yadaidhamsi samitoknir basmasat kuruderjuna jnanakni sarvakarmani basmasat kurude thada.
As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities.
Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate talsvayam yoga samsiddha kalenatmani vindhadi.
In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time.
Shraddhavam labhate jnanam tatpara samyadendriyaha jnanam labdva param shantimajirena gacchati.
A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace.
Ajñascha shraddhanascha samshayatma vinashyadi nyayam logosti na paro na sugam samshayatmanaha.
But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next.
Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana samchinna samshayam atmavamdam na karmani nibandhanti dhananjaya.
One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches.
Tasmadajnana sambhudam hridastam jnanasinatmanaha chittainam samshayam yoga madishto tishta bharada.
Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Chapter 5. Arjuna Uvaja Sannyasam Karmanam Krishna Punayogam Cha Shamsasi Yishreya Edayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchidam.
Arjuna said, O Krishna, first of all you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?
Shri Bhagavan Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karaubau Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyade.
The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work.
Nyeyasa Nitya Sannyasi Yona Dvashtina Kankshadi Nirdando Hi Mahabaho Sukham Bandhat Pramuchade.
One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated. O mighty Arjuna.
Sankhya Yoga Pradak Bala Pravadantina Pandidaha Egam Abhyasthita Samya Gubayor Vindade Phalam.
Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both.
Yad Sankhya Prapyate Sthanam Tatyogairabigamyade Egam Sankyam Cha Yogam Chaya Pashyadi Sapashyadi.
One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are.
Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptu mayogadaha yoga yukto munir brahma najirenadi gacchadi.
Merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the Supreme without delay.
Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijidatma chidendriyaha sarva bhudatma bhudatma kurvanna bina liphyade.
One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled.
Naiva kinchit karomidi yukto manyeda tattvavid pashyan shrunan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan soban shvasan.
A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, about sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them.
Pralaban visrijan grihnan mishan nimishan nabi indriyan indriyarteshu vartanda idhi dharayan. Slogan 9.
One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results onto Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as a lotus leaf is untouched by water.
Brahmanyadhaya karmani sankam tektva karodiyah lipyadena sacha papena patpatra mivambasa.
The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence.
This is 10. This is 10.
Oh,
Two goes together. Sorry.
sorry. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water.
कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवलैरिन्द्रियैरपि योगिना कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वात्मशुद्धये.
The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses only for the purpose of purification.
युक्तकर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिमाप्नोति नैष्टिकीम् अयुक्ता कामकारेण फले सक्तो निबध्यते.
The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled.
सर्वकर्माणि मनस्या संन्यासस्ते सुगं वंशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्.
When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done.
न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्मफलसंयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते.
The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature.
नादत्ते कस्यचित् पापं न चैवा सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं ज्ञानं तेन मुह्यन्ति जान्दवः.
Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge.
ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानं येषां नाशिदात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयमि तत्परम्.
When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime.
तद्बुद्धयस्तदात्माना तन्निष्ठास्तत्परायणः गच्छन्त्य पुनरावृत्तिं ज्ञानानिर्धूतकल्मषः.
When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation.
विद्या विनय संपन्ने ब्राह्मणे गविहस्तिनि शुनि चैव शुभाके च पंडिता समदर्शिनः.
The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentleman, a gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater.
इहैवातर्जिदा सर्गो येषां सामे स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थितः.
Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman.
न प्रहृष्योत्प्रियं प्राप्य नोदिच्छेत् प्राप्य च प्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः.
A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God is already situated in transcendence.
बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वासक्तात्मा विन्दध्यात्मनि यत्सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयश्नुते.
Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme.
ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनया एव ते आद्यन्तवन्त कौन्तेया न तेषु रमते बुधः.
An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them.
Shaknodi haivaya sodhum praksharira vimochanat kama krodad bhavam vegam sayukta sa sugi naraha.
Before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world.
Yontha sugondaratma stadandar jyotirevayaha sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma budodi gacchadi.
One whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoices within, and whose aim is inward and is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme and ultimately he attains the Supreme.
Labande brahma nirvana mrishaya shina kalmashaha chinna daudaya datmana sarva buddha hideradaha.
Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from the sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme.
Kama krodha vimuktanam yadinam yadachedasam abhido brahma nirvanam vartade vididatmanam.
Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future.
Sparshan kritva behirbahyashchushchaivaandare bhruvo pranau bhanau samau kritva nasyabhyandara charinau yedendriya mano buddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigate chaya bhaya krodha yasada mukta eva saha.
Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses and intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from desire, fear and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated.
Bhoktaram yajnatabasam sarvaloga maheshwaram Sukhradam sarva bhutanam nyatvam mam shanti mrichadi.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 6. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashrita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Ya Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Naniragnir Na Chakriya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obliged in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights to no fire and performs no duty. Yam sanyasam iti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschanam. What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme, or son of Pandu. For one who can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karanam uchyate yoga rudhasya tasyasva shama karanam uchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Yadahi nendriyartheshu na karma svanujajate sarva sankalpa sanyasi yoga rudhas tadochyate. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts nor for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Udharet atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanaha. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and he is enemy as well. Bandhur atmanastasya yetna mainavat najitaha atmanastu shatrutvem vartet manaiva shatruvat. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Jitatmanaha prashantasya paratma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukheshu tatha manapamanayo. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Jnana vikyana triptatma kutastho vijitendriya yukta iti uchyate yogi samalosh trashmakanchanaha. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Suhrim ritari udasina madhyastra devesha bandhushu sadushva picha papeshu samabudhir vishishyate. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest all wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitaha ekakiya tachitatma nirashir aparigraha. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Shuchaudeshe pratishtapya sthiram asanam atmanaha natyuchritam nati nicham chai lajina kushotaram tatraika griham mana kritva yata uchitendriya kriyam upavishyasya yunjat yogamatma vishuddhayem. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses and activities and fixing the mind on the point. Samam kaya shirogrivam dharayan achalam sthiram samprekshaya nasigra svam jeshascha navalokyan prashtatma viraga vir brahmachari vratesthita manasamya yamachito yukta asita matparaha. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogini yatamanasaha shantim nirvana paramam matsamstham adhigachati. Thus, practicing constant control of the body, mind and activities, the mystic transcendentalist, his mind regulated, attains to the kingdom of God or the abode of Krishna by cessation of material existence. Natyashna tastu yogosti na chai kantam anashnata nachati svapna shilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, or Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough. Yuktahara viharasya yukta chetasya karmasu yukta svapna vavodasya yogo bhavati dukhaha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Yada vinyatam chitam atmaneva vatishthatem nispriha sarvaka mevyo yukta iti uchyate tada. When the yogi by practice of yoga disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. Yathadipo nivatastho nengate sopamasprita yogino yata chitasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Yatro paramate chitam nirudham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyanatmani tushyasti sukham atya intikam yatat buddhi grayam atindriyam veti yatra nachaiva yam sthitaschya lati tatvaham labdva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukhe na guru napi vichal yatam vidyat dukha sam yoga viyogam yoga sam nitam. In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvina chetasaha sankalpa prabhavan kamam styaktva sarvan apekshataha manasai vendriya gramam vinimya samata tataha. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all the sides by the mind. Shanair upramet budhyadriti grihatayah atma samstham manakritva nakinchitapi chintayet. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Yato yato nishchalati manashchanchalam asthitam tatastatho niyam yatat atmanyeva vasham nanyet. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Prashanta manasam hyenam yoginam sukham uttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahma bhuta akal masham. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me barely attains the greatest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukham ashnutem. Thus the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental love and service to the Lord. Sarvabhutasthamaatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanan. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam chamai pashyati satyaham na pranashyami na sachame na prayashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Sarvabhuta sthitam yomam vajjate katvam asthitam sarvatha vartmano opi sayogi mai vartate. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Atma upam yena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham vayadi va dukham sayogi paramo mataha. He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, or Arjuna. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya prokta samyena madhusudanaha ekasthyam na pashya ami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramadhi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayor iva sudushkaram. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshaya Mahabaho Mano Durni Graham Chalam Abhyasena Tu Kaunteya Vairagyena Cha Grihyate. Lord Shri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Asamyatatmana yogo dush dushprapa iti me mati vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptum upayataha. For one whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. This is my opinion. Arjuna vacha ayati shraddha yopeto yogacha lila manasaha aprapya yoga samsiddhim kim gatim Krishna gachati. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" Kachino vyahaya viprashtash Chinnabhiram ivanashyati aprashtho mahabaho vimudho brahmanah pati. Almighty Arm Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? Atanme samshayam Krishna chetum arhasya sheshataham tvadanya samshayasyasya chetana hi upadyate. Almighty Arm Krishna, this is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely, but for you no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Partha Naiveha Namutra Vinashtasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschit Durgatim Tata Gachati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam shrimate gehe yoga vrashto brijayate." The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Adhava yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlabharatam loke janmayad idrisham. Or, if unsuccessful after a long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. Tatra tam buddhi sam yogam labhate purvadehinam yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddhau kuru nandana. On taking such a birth, he revives his divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success of son of Kuru. Purva bhyasena te naiva hriyate hi yavasho pisa jigyasur api yogyasya shabda brahma vitartate. By virtue of the divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Prayantat ayat manas Prayantat yatamanastu yogi samshudha kilvisha aneka janma samsiddhas tato yati param gatim. And when a yogi engages himself in sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. Tapasvibhyo dhiko yogi, janibhyo pi mato dhika, karmibhyash chadhiko yogi, tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. Yoginam ape sarvesham adgatena antaratmana shadhavan bhajate yomam samayukta tamo mataha. And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental love and service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. Do I keep going?
Yes, you're doing chapter 7 also.
Chapter 7. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manapartha Yogam Yujan Madashraya Samshayam Samagram Mam Yadha Jigyasi Tachino. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Jnanam te ham savavijnanam idam vakshyami asheshataham yatva neha bhuyo yat gyatavyam avasheshyate. Sorry. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain to you for you to know. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yayati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvataha. I shall now, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Bhumirapo nalovayu khamano buddhirevacha ahankara ityamem bhina prakritir ashtadha. Out of many earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligent and false ego, altogether these 8 constitute my separate material energies. Aparayam itastvanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharayet jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastadha. All created beings have their source in these 2 natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, you know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Mata parataram nanyat kinchitasti dhananjaya mai sarvametam proktam sutre mani gana iva. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on the thread. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi shuryasyo pranaiva sarva vedeshu shabdakhe purusham nrishu.
Someone to read the translation? You're okay?
O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Punyo gadha prithivyam cha teja chasmi vibhivasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhi matam asmi tejas tejas vinam aham. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the powers of the powerful man. Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivajjatam dharma virudho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatascharabha. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of Bharatas, Arjuna. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasascha ye mata eveti tan vidhi natveham teshu te mai. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, of ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Tribhir guna mayar bhavair ebhi sarvam idam jagat mohitam nabhi janati mamebhaya param avyayam. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Daivigyesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayamatam tarantite. This divine energy of mine, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pahrita dhyana asuram bhavamashitaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake in the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukrichinorjuna artho jignasur artharthi jnanani cha bharashtabham. The best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Tasham jnani nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi janino tyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Uddara sarva evaite jnanitvat atmava matam asthita sahi yuktatma mameva notamam gatim. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and the most perfect goal. Bahunam janmanam ante gyanavan mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Kamaista ista irhrita jnana prapadyante nyadevata tam tam yamam asthithaya prakritya nitaya svaya. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shradhare tum ichhati tasya tasya chalam shradham tameva vidadham yaham. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Sa taya shadhaya yuktas tasya radharanam ihate labhate cha tata kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires, but in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Antavatu phalam tesham tadbhavaya alpa medhasam devan devaya jo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Avyaktam vyaktim apanam manyante ma abudhayaha param bhavam ajananto mamavyayam anuttamam. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my high nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha mudhoyam nabhijanati lokomam ajam avyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Vedaham samatitani vartmanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu veda nakaschanaha. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Ichhadvesha samudhena tandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sargayanti parantapa. O sign of Bharata, O conqueror of the four, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. Yesham tvananta gatam papam jnanam punya karmanam tedvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridha vrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from all dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Jaramarana mokshaya mama shritya yatantiye te brahma tatvidur kritsnam adyatmam karma chakilam. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me and in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Sadhi bhutadhi daivam mam sadhi yakyam chaye vidhu prayana kale pichamam te vidur yukta chetasaham. Those in full consciousness of me who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death.
Chapter 8 Attaining the Supreme. Arjuna Vacha Kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam kim karma purushottama adhibhutam cha kim proktam adhidevam kim uchyate.
Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Adhiyajna katam kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katam jneyosi niyatatmabhihi.
Who is this Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhavodhyatmamuchyate Bhuta Bhavodbhava Karo Visarga Karma Samnitaha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and this eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities.
Adhibhutam ksharo bhavaha purushaschadidaivatam adhiyajnyoham evatra dehe dehabhritam vara.
O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature which is constantly changing is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and moon, is called Adidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adiyajna, the Lord of sacrifice.
Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samsayaha.
And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha.
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhya cha mayarpita mano buddhir mame vashyasi asamsayaha.
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partanu chintayan.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me and deviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me.
Kavim Puranam Manushashitaram Anoraniyam Smam Anusmaredyah Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature.
Prayanakale manasachalena bhakta yukto yoga bhalena chaiva bhruvor madhye pranam aveshya samyak satam param purusham upaiti divyam.
One who, at the time of death, fixes a slight air between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yadaksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yadyatayo vitaragaha yad icchanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravakshye.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation.
Sarvadvarani samyamya manohriddhi niruddhya cha murdnyadhyatmana pranam astito yoga dharanam.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the light air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
Om iti ekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yaprayati tyajandeham sayati paramam gatim.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets.
Ananya cheta satatam yo mam smarati nityasaha tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yoginaha.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punar avartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janaha.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages takes together form the duration of the Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night.
Avyaktad व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्ति अहरागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवायक्तसंज्ञके.
At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
भूतग्राम स एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वसः पार्थ प्रभवत्यहरागमे.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
परस्तस्मात् तु भावोऽन्यो व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति.
Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
अव्यक्तोऽक्षर इति उक्तस्तमाहुः परमां गतिं यं प्राप्य न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम.
That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode.
पुरुषः स परः पार्थ भक्त्या लभ्यस्त्वनन्यया यस्यान्तः स्थानि भूतानि येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although He is present in His abode, He is all-pervading and everything is situated within Him.
यत्र काले त्वनावृत्तिम् आवृत्तिं चैव योगिनः प्रयाता यान्ति तं कालं वक्ष्यामि भरतर्षभ.
O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or doesn't come back.
अग्निर्ज्योतिरः शुक्लः सन्मास उत्तरायणम् तत्र प्रयाता गच्छन्ति ब्रह्मविदो जनाः.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery God in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
धूमो रात्रिस्तथा कृष्णः सन्मासा दक्षिणायणं तत्र चान्द्रमसं ज्योतिर्योगी प्राप्य निवर्तते.
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet but again comes back.
शुक्ल कृष्णे गति हेते जगतः शाश्वते मते एकया यात्यनावृत्तिम् अन्यया वर्तते पुनः.
According to the Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in the light and one in the darkness. When one passes in light, he doesn't come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns.
नैते श्रुति पार्थ जानन् योगी मुह्यति कश्चन तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु योगयुक्तो भवार्जुन.
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion.
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत् पुण्यफलं प्रदिष्टम् अत्येति तत्सर्वम् इदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानम् उपैति चाद्यम्.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from the studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. Shri Bhagavanuvacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyam anasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshyase subhat.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumavyayam.
This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed.
Ashraddhadhana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani.
Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world.
Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavastitaha.
By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
Nachamatstani bhutani pashyame yogamaishwaram bhuta bhrinna cha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavanaha.
And yet, everything that is created doesn't rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation.
Yatakasha stito nityam vayuhu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani matsthani te upadharaya.
Understand that as the mighty wind, blowing everywhere, rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me.
Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punastani kalpadau vishrajamyaham.
O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency I create them again.
Prakritim swamavastabhya vishrajami punaha bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakritirvasat.
The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end.
Nachamam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu.
O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral.
Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate.
This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again.
Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram.
Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be.
मोघाशामोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानाविचेतसः राक्षसीमासुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः.
Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In their deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated.
महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ दैवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिताः भजन्त्यनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम्.
O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in the devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible.
सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यतन्तश्च दृढव्रताः नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते.
Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम्.
Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form.
अहं क्रतुर् अहं यज्ञः स्वधाहम् अहम् औषधम् मन्त्रोऽहम् अहम् एवाज्यम् अहम् अग्निर् अहम् हुतम्.
But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering.
पिताहम् अस्य जगतो माता दाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रम् ओंकार ऋक्साम यजुरेव च.
I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support and the grandchild. I am the object of the knowledge, the purifier and the syllable Om. I am also the Rik, the Sama and the Yajurvedas.
गतिर्भर्ता प्रभु साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभव प्रलयस्थानं निधानं बीजमव्ययम्.
I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the eternal seed.
तपाम्यहम् अहं वर्षं निगृह्णामि उत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन.
O Arjuna, I give heat and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me.
त्रैविद्यमां सोमपापूतपापा यज्ञैर्हिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान्.
Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly, purified of sinful reactions. They take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights.
ते तं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालं क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्मम् अनुप्रपन्ना गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते.
When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death.
अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्.
But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have.
येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्त्यविधिपूर्वकम्.
Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way.
अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु माम् अभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते.
I am the only enjoyer and the master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down.
यान्ति देवाव्रता देवान् पितॄन्यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम्.
Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me.
पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्ति उपहृतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः.
If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it.
यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत् यत्तपस्यासि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्.
Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me.
शुभाशुभफलैरेवं मोक्ष्यसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि.
In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me.
समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम्.
I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
अपि चेत् सुदुराचारो भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः.
Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति.
He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
मां हि पार्थ व्यपाश्रित्य येऽपि स्युपापयोनयः स्त्रियो वैश्यस्तथा शूद्रास् तेऽपि यान्ति परां गतिम्.
O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and the Sudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination.
किं पुनर्ब्राह्मणा पुण्या भक्ता राजर्षयस्तथा अनित्यम् असुखं लोकम् इमं प्राप्य भजस्व माम्.
How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मामे वैश्यसि युक्त्वैवम् आत्मानं मत्परायणः.
Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me.
So we will have recite some shloka now, and then after that we'll have lunch, and then we'll continue after lunch at 2 o'clock. So, Madhvi Mataji,
Yeah,
are the kids ready?
they are on the way only.
They're on the way. We can do some kirtan in the meantime.
Or whoever is there, should I start?
Sorry? We'll do some kirtan in the meantime.
In the meantime, when kids arrive,
Yeah. Harmony. We'll do some kirtan in the meantime.
I'll be your tanker.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashad Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prashadine Nirvisesha Sunyavani Paschalta Deshayane. Please repeat after me together. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Shri Shri Panchadara ki, Gita Jayanti ki, Premanande Hare Hare Bol.
Shri Pavani Mataji ki. So we will have now, kids will have some program for 15-20 minutes, and then we'll move to Prashad afterwards.
They will just read few slokas.
Yes, sure. Sorry? Yes. You want them to come?
Yeah, they are going to read chapter 2.
Yeah. Maybe Mataji, you can speak in the microphone and explain what they are doing. Yeah, you can use this, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna.
So on behalf of Bhagavad Gita Jayanti, few of our children, they will read slokas from chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. Content of Gita summarized. Chapter 2, from that chapter they will read few slokas. All of you encourage them. Hare Krishna.
Maybe share the screen. Chapter 2, 1 to 5.
Chapter 2.
1 to 5.
Yeah, just 1 second there.
Hare Krishna everyone. Om Adhyanativandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Maya Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. My name is Aishani. Today I am going to read Shloka chapter 2, Shloka number 1. It's from second chapter, contents of Gita summarized. Sanjay Uvacha Tam Tata Krupaya Vistamasrupurna Kuleksanam Vishidantam Midam Vakhyam Uvacha Madhusudana. Translation. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears. Madhusudana, Krishna spoke the following words. Shloka number 2. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Kutastvakashmanamidam Visame Samupastitam Anarya Justamaswagya Makriti Karamarjuna. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy. Shloka number 3. Klebyam masmagama parta naitattvayupapadyate sutram hrudaya dorbalyam tyaktotista parantapa. Translation. O son of Pruta, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Shloka number 4. Arjuna Vacha Katam Bhishma battlemen like Bhishma and Drona were worthy of my worship. Shloka number 5. Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum vaikshamapi haloke hatva takamamstu gurni haiva bhunjiya bhogan rudira pradiktam. Translation. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Hari Bol, thank you.
Next grade.
Sorry, what chapter is she reading?
Chapter sorry?
2?
Yeah, continuation. 6 to 10.
Hello, my name is Riddhi. Hare Krishna. My name is Riddhi and I will say chapter 2.6. Na chaitaditma kataranu guriyo yatva jaima yadivanu jayeyuhu yaneva hatvana jijivishama steva stidaha pramuke dhatarashtaha. Translation. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live, yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Shloka number 2.7. Karpanya dosho bahada svabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yachreyasya nishchidam bruhi tanme Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam. Translation. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Shloka number 2.8. Nahi prapashyami mama panutya Tyachogam avabhya bhuma vasapnam riddham narajam suranam api chadipatyam. Translation. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with Soviet-like demigods in heaven. Shloka number 2.9. Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam ukta rishikesham gurakesha parantapa nayotsa iti govinda mukta tushnim babhuvaha. Translation. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastier of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Shloka number 2.10. Tamuvacha rishikesha prahasyanneva bharata senayor ubayor madhye vishidantam idam vachaha. Translation. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. My name is Sandana. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Ashojinanya Shojastvam Prajnavadam Shabashase Gadasumna Gadasumsha Nanushojanti Pandita. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Natvevaham jadunasham natvam neme janadiva nachaivana bhavishyama sarve vayam mataparam. Translation. Never there was a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Dehi nosmin yada dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tada dehandara praptir dhirastatra namuhyadi. Translation. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Matra sparshastu kaundeya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama paino nityas tam tidikshasva bharada. O son of Kundi, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Yamhina vyadayante te purusham purusharshaba samadukka sukam dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. Translation. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I will be reciting Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, sloka number 16 to 20. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, upayoravidhishtanta, svanayos tattvadarshibhi. Translation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This the seers have concluded by studying the nature of both. Avinashi tu tatvidi yena sarvamidam tatam vinasham avyasya na kaschit kartum arhati. Translation. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Sloka number 18. Antavanta imedeha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino praneyasya tasmadyudyasva bharata. Translation. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Ya enam veti hantaram yasenam manyate hatam ubautau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Translation. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not nor is slain. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यशाश्वतो अयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Translation. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for all the kids. You can see Madhvi Mataji is giving classes to kids like Gurukul. Mataji, would you like to speak a little bit about Gurukul, what you're doing, etc., what you're teaching the kids?
Hare Krishna.
maybe a few of you know me already. Since last January, we started Krishna Club for Children. Krishna Club means, all of you know, we are giving some spiritual education for children. So age group of children 5 to 15, what mainly focusing Bhagavad Gita, Slokas and Bhagavatam stories. So they are learning some important Bhagavad Gita, Slokas and Bhagavatam stories as well from the class. And they are performing in between whenever they come in the temple. And we are going to have annual program for them. February 4th, it would be happen on February 4th in Lucan. We have taken a hall there. So all of you welcome for that program. It is on February 4th. It is along with the Sunday feast. So all of you come and participate for that program and encourage my children. And they are doing amazing job. And please encourage them. If any of your kids need to participate, just let me know and keep in touch with me. I'll be always available for the seva. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol for Madhvi Mataji. Hari Bol. So Prashad, they are bringing the Prashad up. In the meantime that the Prashad is bringing upstairs and everything, I would like to thank very much Pavani Mataji who made Prashad, Madhvi Mataji and Anju Manju, sorry. Anju Mataji? Manju, yeah? Sorry. Manju, yes? Manju or Anju? Anju Mataji. So thank you very much for the Prashad. If you can sit in rows, so that will be very quick, easy to serve the Prashad then. We can, yeah, we'll switch it off. And then we'll continue again with Bhagavad Gita reading at 2 o'clock.